Cronos with the CRO token is the best performing cryptocurrency today. It's also the best performing cryptocurrency this week. The question is, does it make sense to buy now? Is this potentially the start of a long-lasting rally, or is this a pump and dump? Let's have a look at the data most people are not considering. Let's look at the fundamentals. This is the top 100 cryptocurrencies, and Cronos appreciated by 8.6% today, more than everything else. Here's the performance this week, an appreciation of almost 40%, again more than everything else in the top 100. Now here's the thing, if we decide to buy an altcoin, we want to get more performance compared to the benchmark, right? The benchmark is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the safest of the cryptocurrencies, and pretty much all of the altcoins move in tandem with Bitcoin. When Bitcoin is going up, the altcoins go up as well. When Bitcoin is crashing, most altcoins go down as well. So we need to get long-term outperformance over Bitcoin in order to make it worthwhile to take on that additional risk. More risk and more price volatility should mean more long-term return. Otherwise, there's no reason to take on all of that risk. Now what we've got over here is the Cronos price in US dollars long-term. The chart starts in 2018, and since the 14th of December to today, Cronos went up by 467%. But again, there is volatility in altcoins. The worst drawdown was from November 2021 to October 2023, a drop of 94%. But again, this only shows half of the story, right? The reason why I want to buy Cronos is because it should outperform Bitcoin. So let's have a look at CRO relative to BTC. This is the US dollar chart. This is the Bitcoin denominated chart. So it's the exact same price data, just in Bitcoin, not in dollars. And here the story is very different, right? Since launch, Cronos underperformed Bitcoin by almost 80%. We did have our occasional rallies, quite significant rallies. This is 400%, and this over here is more than 1000%. But since November of 2021, things are just going down. What's going on? This rally that we talked about at the beginning of this video is just a recovery, relatively speaking, in an overall downwards trend. We have seen temporary rallies of 76% versus BTC over here, or 46% over here, or 127% over here. But the overall trend is clear. Currently, we are up 51% from the bottom. It looks like the market makers and the big whales have their say in the Cronos price development. Because most trading volume obviously happens directly on crypto.com, right? Cronos is launched by crypto.com, 22.5% of trading volume. But we've also got some volume on Upbit and on Gate.io. And on top of that, we've also got perpetual futures. And that's, interestingly enough, not dominated by crypto.com, but rather by OKX. In other words, maybe there are some people that bet on the price with leverage on the perpetual futures that create all of that movement. But what about the fundamentals? Is there potentially more usage of Cronos in the last few days, and that's why the price is going up? I'm not so sure. What we've got over here is the CRO summed value at the top and the number of token transactions at the bottom. Those charts start in January of 2024, and it seems like there's really not a lot of development, not a lot of growth. Here's the total value locked on chain. So how much capital is currently locked up in the chain? This peaked at above 3 billion and is now at 450 million. So a drop of almost 90%, 85% roughly. Now some of that decline in the total value locked in the capital on chain is also due to the CRO price going down, right? There is some coupling between the ecosystem token and the capital on chain. But the good thing is that we can adjust for that coupling. We can look at the total value locked in CRO. And unfortunately, again, there is not much growth. So it's not just the price of CRO going down, the usage on chain is also trending downwards. But even if something is going down, there is some point point where the price is fair, right? Something might be shrinking, but if the price is low enough, maybe it makes sense to buy. So let's have a look at the usage, say the decentralized exchange activity relative to the market cap to the competition. In the last 24 hours, we had a trading volume on the Cronos chain of 9.4 million. Now that relates to a market cap of Cronos of 2.9 billion. The trading volume on Avalanche was roughly 10 times the trading volume on Cronos, but the market cap was less than 3 times the market cap of Cronos. In other words, Cronos seems to be 3 times overvalued relative to Avalanche if we just look at trading volume. But have a look at this. This is Arbitrum. Arbitrum had a trading volume in the last 24 hours of 600 million. And it's got a market cap of less than Cronos, only 1.7 billion. What's the reason for that? I think Arbitrum is going down because of the tokenomics. Unfortunately, there is going to be a lot of new tokens hitting the market, and that depresses the price. Because have a look at this. This is the floating ARB tokens over time. And now the team and the investors get all their tokens unlocked. And they are, of course, selling their ARB tokens over time, taking profit, depressing the price, and thus also depressing the market cap. Now Cronos doesn't have the best tokenomics either, right? It's got only roughly a quarter of its tokens circulating. So we will 4x in the number of CRO tokens over time, and the demand has to grow by at least the same pace in order for the price just to stay stable. Now, when things don't look that great, when most altcoins are going down and when they especially underperform versus Bitcoin, I think actually it's time to make money. It's not time to exit the market. This is what most people do. I think that bear markets are actually the easier markets to make profit. Because have a look at this screenshot here. This is a premium member that shorted a token with a modest leverage of 3x, and that made 25%. This is his message, tagging me, I made my first profit, thanks. I'm not sharing the exact asset because we are still betting on falling prices of that asset. Again, there are some very weak altcoins that sometimes pump that we can then short, where we can make very easy profit during times like this. Most altcoins are now deflating. It's an always repeating story. What we've got over here is XRP relative to Bitcoin. So this is a relatively long-term chart starting in March of 2021. And whenever we see positive news, when all of attention goes to XRP, the price is rallying, but then sooner or later we do get our crashes. And it's relatively straightforward to make money with those crashes. We're simply looking at what currently pumped a lot, where didn't we see any new all-time highs, but where are we likely going to stay in the trading range, and then we just bet on falling prices. And especially when there's currently a bear market, when a price relative to Bitcoin goes down by 74%, we can make more than even just 74%, right? We can lever this up slightly as well. Or have a look at Dogecoin, right? The same story. Elon Musk tweets about Dogecoin, it goes up, and then afterwards the attention moves to the next token, and we just see a continued price decline. This is again 74%. We made money shorting Dogecoin, by the way. So I'm sharing all the trades that I do betting on falling prices with all the premium members. There are also alternative ways where we don't have to be that active, right? There are some altcoins that are that bad in tokenomics, where the supply is increasing that quickly relative to the demand, that the underperformance relative to Bitcoin is pretty much just a straight line. So what we've got over here is Balancer relative to Bitcoin, and it simply just continues to go down. Now the reason why I'm sharing this position here is because the tokenomics aren't as bad anymore compared to a few years ago, right? I was shorting this throughout the whole of 2024, and I've closed that short now. But the reason why charts like this exist, the reason why we can make money with this, is because the supply increases over time. But this is now Balancer, and a year ago we saw how the circulating supply would still go up by like 30-40% within a year. This is not anymore the case. So relatively speaking, Balancer doesn't expand that quickly anymore. That's why the underperformance is slowing down. That's why I'm now sharing this publicly on YouTube, right? I didn't share this on YouTube in 2023 and 2024. This is where I only shared this in premium. We really have to be realistic about the market. I believe strongly that the long term wins the game. It's always about being consistent. It's always about beating the market over the long term and have proper risk management. Making money in crypto is not just about finding the next 100x meme coin. That can work with a lot of research during a bull run and when we've got a lot of influencers that all coordinate each other that then push up the price. But in a bear market that doesn't work. When there's no new investors joining, that's not the way to make money. I mean, just have a look at this. This is the top 100 tokens. And what we've got over here is Bitcoin. And this is ordered by the performance in the last year. We've got 16 altcoins that outperformed Bitcoin in the last year. 2 of those altcoins, by the way, are gold derivatives. So this is just the gold price going up. So in the end, we've only got 14 out of the top 100 cryptocurrencies that did better than Bitcoin. The vast majority of altcoins did much worse than Bitcoin. And that happened during a period where Bitcoin actually went up. Bitcoin during the time period went up by 25% almost. This is something most people don't understand. Most people think that when Bitcoin is going up by 25%, that the altcoins in theory should go up even more because they are smaller in market cap, they're more volatile, they're somewhat of a levered Bitcoin, but that's only true to a degree. Bitcoin can go up by 25% in a year and still the vast majority of altcoins does worse than BTC. So instead of trying to find the next 10x meme coin, when it's all just player versus player and when no new people enter the space, instead of trying to beat the impossible game, why not get the odds in our favor, right? When more than 80% of altcoins in the top 100 do worse than Bitcoin, why not bet on that? Why not bet on the 80% doing worse than BTC and make money with that? That's personally what I currently do, and that's also what the premium members are doing. That's how short-term gains like this happen while the vast majority of people are just losing. Now, I have not seen any other influencer being that transparent about their own performance, but I want to share what kind of performance I make, and I also want to share this over time, as in not just I have made X%, but I want to share how volatile the game actually is. Crypto trading is a game of both luck and skill. And the longer we are engaged, the more trades we do, the more the skill component will be stronger compared to the luck component, right? It's pretty much like in a casino. If you play versus a casino over the long term, you will lose money. You might win money short term, right? Because the luck is on your side, but over the long term, the odds, the expected value is what plays out. And so what we see over here is a scatter plot. How much did I outperform buying and holding Bitcoin every single month in the last 3.5 years? Some months have been incredible outperformances over buying and holding Bitcoin, right? The very best month was over here with 25% outperformance, but we also had pretty poor months like over here, an underperformance of 18%. So the thing is fluctuating. What we've got as a dotted line here is a 12-month moving average. Most 12-month averages have been positive. When we average out all of those data points, we come to 2.1% per month. So in other words, on average, I make alpha over buying and holding of 2.1% per month. So when we compound this, it's a bit over 25% per year. Now, is this enough? Depends on how much you're betting, right? If you only have $100 to invest, it doesn't matter. But if you've got $10,000, maybe even more than that, it does matter because again, this comes on top of Bitcoin's performance. And so here's what I believe Bitcoin will do over the long term. Instead of just looking at the direct prices, I prefer to look at the realized price, so the average cost basis. Over time, the current price is hovering around that realized price, right, the average cost basis, but the cost basis itself tends to increase quite steadily. And this increase over the last few years was roughly 25% per annum, 30 to 25%. I'm rather conservative. I say 25%. So we've got a bit over 25% per annum from trading. We've got a bit over 25% per annum from just buying and holding Bitcoin. So compounding this again is more than 50% per annum. If you've got more than $10,000 and you put this into 50% per annum long term over the next 3-4 years, that kind of money does matter, right? Isn't that better than trying to gamble it all away with meme coins? Meme coins are ultra risky, and that's why most people just put a a few $100 in them, maybe $1,000 here and there. But if you've got a strategy that's somewhat limited in risk and where you have a long-term track record, then putting in more money, allocating more of the overall wealth towards such a portfolio does make sense, right? Then we can play in the tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands. We don't have to just bet $100. Now, everything I've just explained is in more detail in the premium membership in the tutorial section. There's more than 100 premium tutorials in the membership, and it's not just about shorting, it's not just about betting on falling prices, it's also about risk management, about asset allocation, about on-chain analytics, etc. Besides the tutorials, I also share, of course, what kind of trades I do so that you can simply just copy trade me, right? You don't have to go into every single altcoin in detail all the time. I dare to say that most crypto communities probably lost money in the last few weeks. And I don't think that's true for the premium membership here. I do believe that the vast majority of our members made money because we were prepared. So feel free to check it out. It's currently $125 per month. There's also a 1-week money back guarantee. So in case you don't like premium, just message me within the first week and I'll refund you 100%. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish videos regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. Helps the channel grow. See you again on YouTube or see you in premium. Cheers!